In 2020, my old business died in a week, so I rebuilt from scratch with one digital product. Within 2 years, it had crossed $500,000, and within 3, it was outperforming the best year of my old business while taking fewer hours to run. And it didn't happen because I made prettier slides or added more modules. It happened because I fixed 5 parts of the business most people completely overlook. If you're a coach, a consultant, or expert trying to build a program that actually scales, these are the 5 steps that matter most. And at the end, I'm going to show you how I upgraded the whole system with AI, but not the way people online tell you to do it, the way that actually works. Here's what I did a week after my business collapsed. I didn't sit down and try to invent something. I didn't brainstorm a new concept. I went and found someone who had already figured it out and enrolled in their program, not to copy them, but to understand the architecture. I wanted to know, how does a successful online program actually run? What keeps people engaged? What makes them get results? What does the support structure look like between the sessions? And then I took what I learned, the system, the format, the structure, and I built my own version for my own audience, with their full blessing, by the way. My mentor was happy to let me model what they had built because my audience was completely different from theirs. And this is the thing nobody tells you when they say, build the digital product. You don't have to start from zero. You don't have to invent the wheel. You have to find the wheel that works and adapt it to the road you're driving on. So the question to ask yourself right now is not, what should I build? It's, who has already built something for a similar audience, and what can I learn from how they did it? I'm not saying enroll to model. I'm saying enroll to learn the skills you actually need, and at the same time, learn to model the format that worked. That's what I did. Now, the most dangerous mistake when building a digital product is starting with what you know how to teach instead of starting with who desperately needs it right now. In early 2020, I had almost 15 years of experience working with hundreds of business owners across the music world. I knew the world well, but knowing the world doesn't tell you who to serve. So I sat down and did something that completely changed the direction of everything. I mapped every audience I could potentially help and asked one question about each of them. And the question was, who's in pain right now and who can still act despite the pain? The answer was private music teachers. COVID had destroyed their business, students weren't coming, income disappeared overnight, but unlike the event businesses like my own, which just collapsed, they could still teach. They just needed to learn how to find new students, how to keep them, and how to create stability. That was the pain, specific, urgent, and solvable, and the solution mapped directly from there. Teach them how to create a marketing message, how to run a simple ad campaign, and how to structure an offer that locks students for 3 months at a time so they stop living in fear of cancellation. It wasn't a general grow your business program. It was one audience, one problem, one outcome, and the specificity is what made everything else possible. Now, I want to be honest with you and tell you something that most people who teach about digital products skip entirely because it's uncomfortable. I ran my first webinar before I had a finished program. I had a framework, I had a sequence, but it wasn't built, it wasn't recorded, it wasn't polished, and I sold it anyway. 6 people bought $2,000 each, and the program was delivered live. Me on Zoom every week, teaching the model that was relevant to that session, figuring it out in real time alongside them. Was it perfect? No. Was it a real product? Absolutely. And here's why this matters. If you wait until your program is finished before you sell it, you will build the wrong thing. You will spend months creating content that nobody asked for, solving problems your audience doesn't actually have in a format they don't actually prefer. Selling first forces you to confront reality fast, and reality is the best teacher you'll ever have. But I want to tell you something else, something that took me 4 failed webinars to learn. Because the first few webinars didn't convert, and for a while I thought it was the content, so I restructured, I added slides, I rewrote the offer, but nothing changed. Then I sat down with the people who attended the webinar and didn't buy. I interviewed them one by one, and they told me the same thing in different words. I felt pressured. You seemed a little desperate. And they were right. I just had a huge business that collapsed overnight. I needed it to work. I was terrified it wouldn't, and they felt every bit of it. The shift that finally worked had nothing to do with the presentation. It was internal. I stopped thinking, I need to close this. I started thinking, I'm here to help whoever is ready. And if you're not, that's generally okay. By the fourth webinar, people felt the difference and the sales started to come. I launched at $2,000 per participant. That was the pilot price. Low because I had no evidence yet. And honestly, because I wasn't fully confident yet either. But within a few months, something changed. Students started getting results, real ones. Students were booking clients, filling their schedules, creating stability that they never had before. And I remember looking at what was happening inside the program and thinking, I'm dramatically underpricing for this. So I raised the price. And at the end of every webinar, I announced that the next cohort would be $1,000 more. That wasn't just a pricing decision. It was an urgency tool as well. It created a reason to commit now rather than wait. Over the next few cohorts, I raised it again and again until the price settled at $5,000 per participant. And here's what I noticed. With each increase in the price, the quality of the participant went up. Not because wealthier people are better students, but because people who invest more are more committed. They show up. They do the work. And because they do the work, they get better results. And because they get better results, they become your best testimonials. Higher price didn't slow down sales, it accelerated them. There's a belief a lot of new program builders carry: I'll raise the price once I have more proof. But the pricing itself is part of what creates the proof, because it attracts the client who create it. After several successful cohorts, I hit a wall that every program builder eventually hits. I was teaching the same content live every week to every new group. The information wasn't changing, the sequence wasn't changing, only the students were changing, and I was exhausted. So I did something that felt terrifying at the time. I recorded myself. I delivered the entire program to myself on camera using simple screen recording software, session by session, module by module. Then I cut each 90-minute session into clips between 5 and 20 minutes, upload it all into a private Facebook group. Yes, a Facebook group, nothing fancy. That became the core content library. No studio, no production team, no waiting until it's perfect. I recorded it, I cut it, I published it. And now the content could run without me being live. But that created a new problem. Who would support the students between sessions? Who would answer questions, run practice calls, give feedback? And the answer was sitting right in front of me. I had graduates, people who had been through the program, gotten results, and were still connected to the community. So I reached out to the strongest ones and asked a simple question: would you like to become a mentor in my next cohort in exchange for continued coaching and support from me? Every single one of them said yes. They weren't just willing, they were excited because they remembered exactly what it felt like to be in the beginning. They knew which moments were the hardest, which fears were the loudest, which encouragements actually landed. And that made them better support than anyone I could have hired externally, better than me. Suddenly, instead of coaching 50 students a week, I was meeting with 5 mentors, and the product kept running and kept improving with less of my time. Now in 2024, AI entered the picture, and I want to be direct about something because I hear a lot of bad advice about this topic. People will tell you that AI can build your program for you, that you can describe what you know and the tool will generate the curriculum and skip the hard part. That's not true, and if you try it, you'll find out quickly. AI cannot replace the judgment that comes from working with real people, watching something fail, understanding why, fixing it, and seeing what actually works. That judgment is the product. No tool can manufacture it, at least not yet. What AI can do and does extremely well is replacing the repetitive mechanical parts of delivery. Like the worksheets that my students used to fill out on their own, they now have a conversation with an AI trained on my entire content library. The AI asks them questions, it challenges their assumptions, it adapts to their answers, and that used to be a static document, And what used to be a static document is now a live dialogue. And the practice calls my mentor used to run, many of them are now handled by an AI that knows the program framework and knows how much to push versus how much to simply listen. The result is that my mentors can now focus on what only a human can do: the emotional support, the mindset moments, the conversation that requires real intuition. Everything else runs automatically. And because an AI is running on proven content, not generating new content from scratch, it works. It's not faking expertise, it's delivering mine. These 5 steps aren't separate tactics, they're a sequence. You model a structure that works, you find the exact person with the exact pain, you sell before you're ready, you let reality teach you what to build, you raise the prices or proof comes in, and you remove yourself from delivery layer by layer. Each step funds the next, and the whole thing keeps running long after you've done the work. If you know you have expertise worth turning into a program, book a call with me through the link in the description. No pitch, just a real conversation about what the right next step looks like for you. Building a digital product changed my life, but not because I found a shortcut, but because I followed a sequence and I didn't skip steps. That's the version worth building. I'm Ido Letterman. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.